My boy, and welcome everyone. Today's Omid is Daf Chof Beis Omid Aleph, with the previous Omid 3 lines from the bottom. We learned the Leluya Nishmas Avram ben Aaron Yitzchak Bracha Basar Yehuda Pelazizel Basar Avram and David ben Alexander ben David. Today's so. Till now, the Gemara wanted to say that there's no chilik malachas b'yamtef. That means if you did two malachas simultaneously on yamtef, you only get one avera. So the Gemara says, is that true? Vatnan. Vashal, it says in the Mishnah, Vashal gid. B'chalav, you cook a gid and esher, right, which is also to eat. In chalav, basav chalav, b'yamtef, on yamtef. Va'achla, and you ate it like a chamesh. You get 5 malchus, 5 averas. Like a mishum eichel gid, you ate the gid. V'leike mishum vashal b'yantif, you cooked on yantif. Shalei letzerech. V'leike mishum vashal gid b'chalav, you cooking basav v'chalav. V'leike mishum eichel basav v'chalav, and you ate basav v'chalav. V'leike mishum avara, and you made a fire. So Rashi says over here, mishum avara. Take a look. The have iu mavir v'chaver mavashel have tavai chayovin. If one guy would light the fire and another one would cook, it's 2 separate lavim. Mavashel, the mavir and mavashel of its malachas, cooking and making a fire, they're both of its malachas. Alma, says Rashi, mechayev mishum yontav shtaim havara u beishol. So you see that there's 2 separate isurim going on here. When you cook, there's also making a fire, which is asa, and also the cooking is asa. So, l'chayru, you have to say, what's the case? Is it 2 separate maisim? It's one case. L'chayru, what it means is he puts the pot on the stove and he just lights a fire. When you light the fire, you're also cooking and you're also lighting a fire. So there's 2 separate isurim happening simultaneously. So the Gemara answers, V'im isa mishum avara, if you're going to tell me that there's avara, lo mechayev, Vim isa shumavar lo mechayev do chayev le mishum b'shulai. So what are you going to tell me? You can't be chayev 2 isurim on yontif while doing the same ma'isa. L'chayra, here he's doing 2 isurim. If you're going to tell me that, malachas le mischalkas on yontif, you can't be chayev for doing 2 malachas on yontif simultaneously. So why are you here? Does he get 2 malchus, one for avara and one for cooking? It's 2 things, same ma'isa, he gets 2 malchus. What do you mean? Yontif, you only get 1. So answers the Gemara. So that's a proof that you do get 2 malchus on yontif for 1 issa. The Gemara answers no. Apik avara, take out the issa avara va'ayil gida nosha shel nevela, and instead replace the issa avara here with nevela. He's eating the gida nosha of a nevela. Now, as he creates a new issa here, take out havara, you're right, remove havara. So what are the 5? Put in nevela instead. The animal wasn't shechted, it died of natural causes. It's called a nevela. One sec. Vatani, Rubchia. So now we've got our 5 cases, right? Nevela, Gidanosha, all these other things. Basav v'chalav. Vatani Rubchia said, like a shtaim alachilasai, the malchus, these 5 malchus, 2 are for eating, for shalish al b'shalai, and 3 for cooking. So there's 2 for cooking and 3 for eating. And if you're going to say it's an avela, instead of the issur of burning on Shabbos, avara, so nevela is another eating. It should be shalish al achilasai, v'shtaim al b'shalai. If you're going to tell me he's sticking here that this thing was also an avela, so that means he did 3 things that eating and 2 on for other reasons. So the Gemara doesn't like this. Ella apik avara, so it says the Gemara, take out avara, and instead of, you can't put it in avela because we don't like nevela because there's too many eating problems. Apik avara v'ayalatzei ashera. He burnt, the fire he burnt was with wood from Atzei Shera, from, you're not allowed to use Atzei Shera, is from a city that that uses tree, this sacrifice of Avodah Zarah, you can't use it. It's Atzei Shera, it's also to use. V'azarase Ma'acha, how do you know you can't use Atzei Shera? It says in the Pasuk, V'lo yidbak b'yadcha mu'ma min acherem, you're not allowed to use anything. Just interestingly, side note, right? Why doesn't he want to put in? Why can't you put in a vela? Why is it? So Reb Chia said there's only 2 eating. Why? Why can't it be the 6 of Averis? And nevela is one of their term. So he ate again. Gid b'chalav, it's boss of b'chalav. He ate a gid anosha, and he eats it. So why can't it be? It's a nevela. What's wrong with the nevela? So there's a diyun in Achronim, what's wrong with it? But the Aruch LaNes says, he makes a cheshbon, fascinating cheshbon. Now that we've learned Makos till now, we can understand what he's talking about. Otherwise you'd have no idea. So it's talking about, when you eat basar v'chalav, if you had half a kazayis of basar and half a kazayis of chalav, basar v'chalav, you ate a whole kazayis of chayiv. Right? You don't have to have a kazayis of basar and a kazayis of chalav. It's enough to have a kazayis of half basar, half chalav, to be like her. So that's what we're talking about here. You ate half a kazayis of basar, half a kazayis of chalav. So the gid anosha is the basar here, right? So it's only half a kazayis of gid anosha, but we learned the gid anosha, it's a barrier. You don't need the whole kazayis to be chayav for gid anosha. It's enough to have a half a kazayis of gid anosha because there's a barrier. If you have a tiny animal, it's a tiny gid, whatever it is, it's less than the kazayis. You like her even on half a kazayis of gid anosha. But you won't be chayav for nevela because you only had half a kazayis of nevela. So you can't talk about nevela because there's only half a kazayis. So maybe he's talking about, you might say, let the Mishnah talk about a case where he ate 2 kazaysim. That's already a problem because he's like a more we saw. It's an issue. You don't want to throw in other maisim. We're talking about the basic thing, the smaller share. So he's chayav for gid anosha, he's chayav for basar v'chalav, but he's not chayav for nevela because there's less than kazayis for nevela. Well, I love that. Anyways, it says the Gemara. Take a avara, put an atzei shera. What's the issa of atzei shera? It says in the pasuk lo yidbak b'yodcha. So says the Gemara, Amalei Rav Acha b'rei de Rava l'Rav Ashi v'lo kinami mishum lo yisavi ta'eva al beisecha. So you should also get Makos for the issa. It says lo yisavi ta'eva al beisecha. You can't bring it to your home a ta'eva, right? And that means, so his kasha is, he should get another Makos. Once talking about atzei shera, there's also issa called loisavi teiva al besecha. Now, the Rambam explains that this issa loisavi teiva al besecha, there's two isurim d'oraisa lefi the Rambam. When it comes to any avodah zarah, first issa is being a nana, and the second issa is you're not allowed to bring it into your house. The 2 isurim. The pasuk says don't bring it into your house. But Rambam says, you see from here, the lachar it's also just to be nana from it. Lav dafka it's in his house, right? I guess the Gemara brings it later also. He does a charishu with atzei shera. He plows a field with atzei shera. You see that it's not in his house. That's for sure not in his house. He's not plowing a field in his house. And the Gemara brings the same pasuk. So l'chayra, the Rambam says that they're both. The Rambam says this pasuk teaches me 2 things. First of all, it's also to be nana. Any I know from avodah zarah is also. Second of all, you can't bring avodah zarah into your home. Someone's got a nice idol, you're not allowed to bring it to your home. The question, you're allowed to rent the house, though, even the avodah zarah, it's your home, and he's bringing his avodah zarah into your home, problem. The Ritva says no. The pasuk is only talking about hanam, the rice is also being nana from avodah zarah. Bring it into your home, that's a din d'rabbanan. That's not biblical, that's a din d'rabbanan. Don't bring it to your home. I guess it's much from the pasuk, it's a smachta, but the issa is only to be nana, midoraisa. So the Gemara says, Ella. So, Ella b'hachamai skinan kongoin shebishloi ba'atzei hekdesh. Here we're talking about a case where he cooked with wood that's hekdesh. There's wood could be hekdesh. This wood is hekdesh, and it's also to burn it. Vazarase. So where does it say you can't burn hekdesh? Vazarase macha. It says v'ashreim tisfum be'esh leisasun kein l'Hashem Elokeichem. You should burn their stuff in a fire. Don't burn. Don't Don't burn Hekdesh. B'derech hashchos, that means. You can't just go ahead and make a fire and burn out to Hekdesh. This wood is Hekdesh. Don't go ahead and destroy it. So that's okay. Simon, Shan by Shanaz. It's a simon of who said what. We're going to read. We'll see in the Gemara. Matkif la Ravishia, Hoshia. Now he's going back to our Mishnah on the previous Omer that said that a guy could plow his field. Remember this case? A guy could plow a row, and he's over 8 Makos. He's over 8 Isurim. So now Rav Ashi is going back on that case, right? Lechashiv namazre benachal eitan. Why don't we include in Issa that he plows his field on Nachal Eitan? What's Nachal Eitan? So he explains that Nachal Eitan is where you have you find a dead body, you don't know whose city it belongs to, and you bring this what's it called, Shor Egla Rufa. You're not allowed to plow a field there. That becomes also lenetzach netzachim to plow a field over there. I'm not sure what the shear is. I guess right where the body is, wherever they did it, wherever they shechted this thing, you're not allowed to plow the field there. So let's talk about maybe plow the field in Nachal Eitan. That's called Nachal Eitan. Maybe it was there. Where does the pasuk say you can't do it? Where's the Azara? It says Asher lo yoivad boy v'lo yizra. It says you can never plow, you can never work over there. V'lo yizra, you can never sow the field over there. Maskif lo Rav Chanina says, I have another case. B'lechoshav nami, throw in this case, hamochikas Hashem b'lechosai. There's Shem Hashem written in the field, and as he's walking, he's destroying the Shem Hashem. He's rubbing out the Shem Hashem as he's walking. Where did it say you can't be moich the Shem Hashem? It says in the pasuk of Abadatem Eshmam Leisasun Kein Hashem Lekechem. It says you should destroy their name of Avodah Zarah. Don't do this to Hashem. Don't destroy the Shem Hashem. So another Issa, muscular vov, v'lechashiv nami. I've got another Issa. Hakaitze says barasai, but while he's walking, while he's plowing the field, he chops off his bahara. He's got this tzaraz, and I guess when he plows, he's also somehow it cuts off his baharas. It says in the pasuk, hishama, which means you're over love if you don't. Benega tzaraz, don't cut off your nega tzaraz. So maskevela abaye v'lechashiv nami. I have another Issa. L'chashiv nami hamiziach ha'chayshin ma'ala ephod. Someone who removes the chayshin from the ephod of the kohen gadol. V'ameiseh b'adei aron, take off the b'adei aron. So maybe that's what's talking about here. He also pushes this. He plows the field and he pulls off the chayshin ma'ala ephod. V'azrasim ha'cha, it says lo yasur v'lo yizach ha'chayshin. Once you're throwing in a serm, I've got this case. Maskul Ravashi v'lechashiv nami. Okay. This is what I mentioned before. Maybe he's plowing ba'atzei Asherah. What does it mean? He's using the plow, the wooden plow. That wood is from a tree that was never Avodah Zarah. What's the pasuk? It says v'lo yidbak b'yadcha me'uma. You can't use anything from that's Avodah Zarah. So Mascular Ravina, maybe this is already a more realistic one. All the other ones are very unrealistic, which for some reason they say that's why they weren't brought down, because all these things are like not common, but this is really much more common. He's chopping down while he's plowing the field, he's chopping down trees, fruit trees. You're not allowed to chop down a fruit tree. Issa, not allowed to cut down a fruit tree. Big problem. Amalei Rav Zera said, the Rabbi Mani, you could go into Omer, Shvur Shalayachish B'Yontav. He says, you know what, I have another case. Maybe he's talking about a case where he says, I take a Shvur, a guy swears, I'm not going to plow my field on Yontav. It's Yontav, remember we're talking about Gez Yontav. He says, I swear I'm not going to work on Yontav. So the Gemara already is fighting with this one. Hasam Leich Ala Shvur. Who, if a guy swears he's not going to plow his field on Yontif, the shvur is not chal. Why? Because ein shvur chal al shvur. If you have a shvur to keep the Torah, The Torah says you can't play a Fil Yontif. So if you swear you're not going to play a Fil Yontif, the shua's not chal. It means nothing. You said words that didn't do anything. It's called ein shvua chal shvua. So the Gemara says, Amalei, I tell you, we can have a case where the shvua is chal. Amalei, kivan dom shvua shalayach bein b'chal ben b'yontif. So if someone makes a shvua that he's not going to plow on Yontif, that's not chal because the shvua didn't do anything, it didn't achieve anything. But if a guy says, I'm not going to plow on Yontif or any time, or during the week, or on Monday, so since the shvua is chal on Monday, that was a good shvua, or during the week, so therefore the whole shvua is chal, and that's also going to be also for him to plow on Yontif because of his shvua. The shvua is chal now. The whole problem is shvua chal shvua means that you didn't do anything, but if you did something, you made it also Yontif also chal, then that's a good teshua. That's going to work. Says the Gemara, "Demigu dechala alei shvua b'chal." Since the shvua applies to him on during the weekday, it's also going to apply in Yontif, so you got another issa here. So the Gemara answers, nah, I still don't like it. Why? Because midid the issa b'she'ela like tani. The Gemara, the Mishnah, didn't want to bring things that you can go ahead and do a she'ela afterwards. You can revoke. Now, this guy took a shvua, he's not going to plow his field in Yontif. He plowed the field, but guess what? He can go over to Chacham 2 weeks later, and we mevatel that shavua. He says, "Do our forest of Dharam shvuas." He comes called nidre. He's meichel in there, and therefore he's not going to get. He's not like her. He can do a she'ela. The Gemara doesn't like this. V'loi vari hekdesh. What about hekdesh? He says how he's a hekdesh. We're talking about it's hekdesh. He can be shal the hekdesh also. Since you do hekdesh with a pair, you can be shal the hekdesh. The Gemara says, very hekdesh. The Gemara answers, b'bechar. You know what hekdesh we're talking about here? We're not talking about a case where a guy says, how is a hekdesh. We're talking about a bechar, which is hekdesh automatically. It's not, you didn't make a hekdesh with your pair. It's automatically hekdesh, it's the bechar, and therefore you can't be shal that hekdesh. So we're talking about a bechar here. What about vari nazir? What about nazir? This is already fascinating sugya. Vari nazir. The Mishnah mentions nazir. He plows the field, he's a kain and he's a nazir, right? If he's a nazir, why can't he can be shal in his naziris? Guy says he's a nazir, he can be shal. The Gemara answers, but Nazir Shimshon. We're talking about Nazir Shimshon. The Gemara asks, but Nazir Shimshon barim tuile mesim who? Nazir Shimshon is allowed to be tamei mace. Shimshon was busy killing people all day, right? He's allowed to be tamei mace, even though they were going, but whatever. But Nazir Shimshon is allowed to be tamei mace. Elai Tana Isa Kaila Leisley. So let's take a look in Rivon. To the side, just what's going on with this Nazir Shimshon thing? What is Nazir Shimshon? What's he talking about? Take a look. So the Rashi says on the side of Rivon, it's just above where the first white line is. But Nazir Shimshon, what's Nazir Shimshon mean? Why is he? What does it mean Nazir Shimshon that he can't be uproot his shvuah? So he says Nazir Shimshon alei malach kibul nizirus alav. He wasn't. Shimshon didn't say I'm a Nazir. The malach said he's a Nazir. Dahu ein sheila. You can't go ahead and revoke a Nazir Shimshon because he didn't make it on himself with his pair. The tziva shalamalu, a malach who came from Makos Baruch Hu, an angel came down and said he's a Nazir, and therefore Shimshon can't be uproot his Naziris. That's what it means Nazir Shimshon. So in other words, a person can't say I'm a Nazir Shimshon l'chayr if this day in the Rivon, right? What's a Nazir Shimshon? The malach comes and says you're a Nazir. Says the Rivon, next Rivon, Nazir Shimshon bam to lemesimhu. A Nazir Shimshon is allowed to be tamei. Says the Rivon, klum asuhu li tamei lemesim. It's not forbidden for him to become tamei. Odom shemekabel nazirus alei malach. Someone that's nazirus came through an angel from heaven. He never said I'm a Nazir. Angel says you're a Nazir. He's allowed to walk into the basic Kavod. There's no problem with that. So Aminim b'Mesechas Nazir Shimshon huta litamei lemesim. It's in Mefurish Gemara in Mesechas Nazir. The Shimshon was allowed to be tamei meis. Ubay lafuki ma'ikra v'yach 150. He learns that from this pasuk. He killed 150 people. Uparich emed shavinu guys sin. Maybe it doesn't mean he killed them. Maybe it just means he made them guys sin. He made them sickly ill, and then he left before they died. Okay, so Visna Mefarshi, now he has a whole different pshat. Visna Mefarshi, different pshat. What does it mean? Visna Mefarshi, Nazir Shimshon doesn't mean that the Malach made you a Nazir. It's Nazir min ha-beten. Nazir Shimshon means the second you're born, you're a Nazir. How could that happen? He's too young to talk. He's a Uba. So Alama, the father made him a Nazir. The father says, this baby is going to be a Nazir. Vikasha, but in that case, the father could do Sheila. He says, Shalaviv. The father could do Sheila. Okay, so those are the two shitas in the Rivon. Look, either Nazir Shimshon means that, you say it in the Torah Sandor once, I was like, what's this Nazir Shimshon business? Either Malach made you a Nazir, or your father made you a Nazir. Either way, you're a Nazir the second you were born, and you can't do Sheila on it. Or maybe the father could do Sheila on it, and the father's dead, so you can't do Sheila. Okay, so says the Gemara, he doesn't hold of Issa Kailel. In other words, what's Issa Kailel? He doesn't hold it by adding other Surim. Again, the original question was back to Yontuf, right? How come if he says Shabbos and Yontuf, why doesn't that work? So he goes back to the original question. Issa Kailel say that by adding other Surim, that doesn't make the Issa Chal. Issa Kailel doesn't help for Issa to be Chal. The fact that it happens to add other things. Says the Gemara, Amar of Haishia, Hamarbiyah Shar Psulei Mukdashim. Someone that breathes a Shar, there's Psulei Mukdashim. Fascinating story you'll see in the Rivon also. Someone breathes a Shar, like a Shtaim, he gets 2 Balkas. Amar of Yitzchak, Hamanig B'Shar Psulei Mukdashim, if someone just is manig, he pulls a Shar, he gets 2 Malkus. He gets Malkus. Why? Shari Guf Echatu. You have 1 Shar, you drag it. It's 1 Shar. What did you do? Why is it Kilayim? It's Guf Echad. V'kosov, v'asa kosov k'shnei Gufim. The Torah says it's 1 Shar, but it's Psul Mukdash. It's got a Psul. Right? And we're going to see in the Ravon what that means in a second. But it's like 2 animals. You got 1 animal, the Torah says it's like 2 animals, and therefore it's Kilayim. Take a look at the first white line in Rashi. What is going on over here? What is going on? Says the Rivon. Shenifta filu al minay laika. You got this psulei mukdashim. You did a pigeon on it. You were playing with this shah, right? You transfer the kedusha to another animal, but now this one still got a little bit of kedusha. Shari guf echad v'asa kasu shnei gufim. It's like 2 animals now. Why? The Torah chulim v'tayis kedeshim. It's also chul and it's also kodesh. What does that mean? It's chul that you're allowed to eat this behemoth now. But it's hekdesh that what? You can't make the animal work. It's also begizav aveda. You can't make it plow the field, and therefore it's also chul and also hekdesh. So if you drag this animal, it's like you drag 2 animals, hekdesh and chul. And it's a chiddush, I guess, that it's called kilayim, that you have hekdesh and chol together is called kilayim. We'll see, but that's the ikanakut over here. As soon as you have this 1 animal, it's also hekdesh and also chol. Taisus just says, it's got to be talking about a case where you drag the animal with a package, with like cargo. It can't just be you just pull this animal, because otherwise you can never move an animal. Once it's pulled mukdash, it's stuck there, you can never get it to move. So what's the Issa here? The Issa is to carry something. Otherwise it's not. So okay, Shkoyach, have a wonderful day. We'll carry on with the Mishnah Be'ez Hashem.